At the beginning of this week's parasha, towards the end of Rishon, we find one of the most famous psukim in all of Parashat Ekev, when Moshe Rabbeinu explains to the Jewish people that HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided for them for the 40 years in the desert with nothing but man, leman hodiacha, in order to teach you, ki lo al halechem levado yichya adam, that a person does not live on bread alone, ki al kol motza pi Hashem yichya adam, but rather a person lives on anything dictated by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The experience of the wandering in the wilderness was vital in order for the Jewish people to recognize that even when they produce their own food from the ground, ultimately their sustenance comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, as evidenced by the sustenance he provided for them as they traveled in the wilderness. Rav Shamshon Raphael Hirsch, in his commentary, goes further into this message that was conveyed by Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu here uses the word lechem, a term, though frequently used as a generic reference to food, denotes specifically bread, a product and a symbol of human ingenuity, the ability of humanity to harness raw, natural elements to create something far more refined. However, the word lechem also closely resembles the word milchama, war, because, as Rav Hirsch notes, one's livelihood is wrested from nature in the competition of your fellow man. One has to wage war against the elements and against competitors in order to sustain oneself, and thus livelihood is referred to in almost militaristic terms, according to Rav Hirsch, with the word lechem. This term connotes the efforts and the creativity we must expend in the pursuit of sustenance. And yet it's that milchama which the pasuk teaches us can never be the focus of our life itself. Rather, it has to be our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ki al kol motza pi Hashem yichya adam. It's because of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu teaches us that ultimately we survive. For 40 years, human involvement in the process of gaining livelihood was set aside. HaKadosh Baruch Hu provided us with everything we needed. And this experience, explains Rav Hirsch, was to teach us that even when we have to assume our share of responsibility for supporting ourselves, even in the world today as it is, when we need to work, it's not our exclusive responsibility. And as such, we have to be prepared to limit what we do, to limit our pursuit of profitability and wealth for the sake of fulfilling our commitment to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, recognizing that HaKadosh Baruch Hu in the end will supply the portion of our livelihood when we sacrifice to do what he wants us to do.